Hello, and welcome to a brief introduction to PA350, also known as Social Security Disability Law. This is a course that is one of our, I want to almost say, one of our most practical classes that we offer. A Social Security disability advocate can be a non-lawyer and can represent individuals appealing rejected claims before tribunals. So this is one of the areas where a non-lawyer can represent someone. As you can see, the course description is pretty detailed. You will look at some of the essentials of representing a claimant before the SSA for benefits under Title II, which these are the disability insurance benefits. Again, this is the area of law where even if you're not a lawyer, up to a certain level, you may be able to represent someone and advocate for them in terms of getting them disability benefits. If you don't want to do that, there are still plenty of tasks for non-lawyers to perform or paralegals working under an attorney, given the fact that there are so many medical records involved and so much information that needs to be gathered to support the disability claim. So you will also in the course learn about the 5-step evaluation process that the agency uses to evaluate these kinds of claims. You will look at terminology. This is this is an area of law where there are specific terms that are very particular to this area of law. So you'll learn about those. Ethics representation requirements. Now, these are especially important in this class. Ethics is always important, but in this class, if you are a non-lawyer representing someone, this is where the ethical rules are going to be very important to you. And so you'll want to know them and understand them. The administrative structure. If you've taken administrative law, you'll already have a good idea of where the Social Security Administration fits into things. Even if you've taken it, it will still be helpful to look at the specific structure of the SSA. Also, the processes and what kinds of things are involved in the claims process. Also, we will look at the process for preparing a continuing disability review, and then also how to prepare for an appeal if benefits are denied. Again, this is very useful information, as this is sort of a common thing that happens when it comes to disability benefits. So here are the 6 outcomes. This is a 6-credit course, and they sort of track what you're going to be doing throughout the course, which is, of course, in line with the course description. So Unit 1, you're going to look at the background of the SSA. How did it form? What was its purpose? What were its goals? What is it doing now? Then we're going to look at what kinds of Social Security benefits are available. A lot of people, I've noticed, even just talking to people who are knowledgeable, I noticed that they sort of throw them all in together, and they get confused. Wait, what's the disability? How do you get the retirement benefits? How does that work? And then we're going to look at the relevant issues in a Social Security disability claim. As with any sort of legal claim, there are typical issues. So we're going to look and see what are those. And that's all in Unit 1. Unit 2, short and simple. We're going to complete the paperwork needed to file a claim. You're going to look at really this process of filing the claim, all the forms that are involved. Again, this is a sort of area that might be a little technical. However, the good thing about this is something also very routine in this area of law. So once you've done it a few times, you will become more comfortable with it. And this course actually introduces you to it so that you will, if you walked into a law office practicing this area of law, at least you'll have the experience of doing it and really kind of looking at it on a detailed basis before you actually have to do one. You'll learn about the 4 levels within the SSA's adjudicative process. You'll just know the stages of claims, and this is going to help you identify what stage is the client that's walking into your office. What point in the process are they at? Unit 3, We look at fees. How do you get paid for all your work for a client? You've got fee petitions, fee agreements, and we'll compare the advantages and disadvantages of each. And then we'll look at who exactly can represent a Social Security disability claimant. Again, there are stages where a non-lawyer can do it. There are some stages where it has to be an attorney. And so again, that will be why it's so important to learn about the different stages. Unit 4, we cover the evaluation process. This is what happens when the claim gets to the SSA. We'll look at the role of doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals in this process. They obviously play a very big role. Their opinions are what the SSA looks at. And then we'll look at why are claims denied. Obviously knowing what are the pitfalls, what are the reasons that a claim could be denied will help you learn to, deal with a denial or avoid a denial, ideally. Unit 5, this is a great unit. Honestly, if you are interested in other areas of law, like personal injury, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, anything where there are medical records to be reviewed, this unit is going to help you with other areas of law as well. So we're looking at what are some acceptable medical sources. Is it best to have a neurosurgeon, or is a chiropractor okay? Then we're going to look at the meaning of medical evidence from treating sources. So which medical opinion carries more weight? What kinds of information do you need? Then we'll look at what is a consultative examination in disability and who performs this. If you've done personal injury at all, this would be sort of like the independent medical evaluation, that type of thing. And then the sequence of 5 events that are used to determine that a claimant's impairments justify disability. So this isn't, the SSA really has a process, and they really have identifiable and objective standards. You just have to know what they are and know how to address each of them with your medical evidence. And that's what you're going to learn in this course. Unit 6, you're looking at the vocational factors to determine if an individual can do any work. This is, this person is saying, I'm disabled, I can't work. Well, the SSA they're not just going to take, what we say as law. They're going to have to say, well, wait a minute, let's look and let's see if there's any kind of job that they can do. So they will perform their own evaluation, and we want to make sure that we have our I's dotted and T's crossed, that we can sort of disprove what they're saying, because, the SSA their presumption, they like to deny. So we want to address anything. We want to sort of preempt any sort of things that they're going to say. So what is a vocational analyst, voc rehab expert, sometimes they're called? What, this person is usually an expert, and they can testify to what the person can do in terms of a job given their disability. So obviously it's going to be very helpful for our case when we're representing a claimant. Unit 7, we look at what are some inconsistencies in a claimant's file. So if there's something wrong that you can see right off the bat, okay, this doctor says this doctor says this, you're going to kind of take a closer look and, see what's going on there, and either fix it by, getting another medical opinion to rebut maybe one that's negative, or maybe telling the person, hey, this current opinion suggests that there's no disability, for example. We're going to look at employment that is non-related to the disability that may be claimed. So maybe somebody has another job and they can do that job. You're not claiming that they can be disabled from that job, and what kind of role does that have in the overall claim? Also, the consultative examination doctor, they perform limited testing. What is their role? And then we're going to look at what does it mean when you're disabled with a sedentary residual functioning capacity? Again, I told you we go through a lot of specialized vocabulary. You will be an expert. You will know exactly what that means by the time you take this course. Like I said, it's a really practical course. Then we're going to look at 3 types of onset dates. Okay, maybe we say, yeah, this person's disabled, but when did that start? When do we, if it's a SSA, when do we need to start paying? When did you file the application? When did you notice a disability? If you need back pay, when do we need to start that? When does that back pay start? We'll look at the different factors that will affect that EOD. We'll look at the impact of an unsuccessful work attempt. So what if somebody went back to work? They tried to go back to work, but then they couldn't. They're like, no, I'm disabled. Well, how does that impact that onset date? And then what are the waiting period requirements of an individual making a claim under SSDI versus one making a claim under SSI? There's two differences there, or there's a difference there. Unit 9 looks at the meaning of a continuing disability review, who conducts this, how often they're conducted, and then what kinds of assessments are performed for those benefits to be continued. So these are always, once you get the benefits, obviously the claimant wants to continue receiving those benefits. So how do you keep that income rolling in for them? Also, Unit 10 looks at the timeline for submitting a written appeal. Obviously, an appeal is important. What is the timeline? What are the 5 levels of appeal of an SSA decision? And then we'll look at the 5 levels of appeal. So I truly look forward to seeing you in PA350 someday soon. It is a wonderful class, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. So thank you so much for being here to listen.